Hey everybody!
Good morning everyone. We're glad you're with us today.
Thanks for joining in.
We're really excited to share our experience in Martha's Vineyard with you all. And we just want to say thank you for watching. We want to thank our patrons, especially for your generosity and your encouragement. We really appreciate you. And we're just thankful to be able to continue cruising on the East Coast.
And we hope that the path that we've kind of carved out here and that we've been discussing, we hope that this will inspire you as a cruiser if you've never been there. Let's get moving.
Similar to the last few videos, we are going to review and rate Martha's Vineyard based on these three categories: cruiser friendliness, things to do, hang time, and an overall rating. We're going to structure this video in terms of the three anchorages that we actually visited.
Why didn't we go to all five?
We were under a bit of a time constraint, so we only had 9 days. The 5 anchorages are Menemsha, Lake Tashmoo, Vineyard Haven, Oak Bluffs, and Edgartown. We are going to talk about Menemsha, Lake Tashmoo, and Edgartown.
Love that Edgar guy.
We could have stayed all summer. 9 days was definitely not enough. We had to get to Nantucket before the end of our time, so we really pushed it to be in Martha's Vineyard 9 days.
Oh my goodness, yeah, until the snow started falling.
Or maybe not that long. But
okay, right.
We actually came upon Menemsha accidentally. We were headed from Cuttyhunk to Lake Tashmoo, and the winds were right on our head, and it was really rough going. And we said, this is stupid. Tomorrow the winds are going to change. Why don't we just fall off to Menemsha and stay there for the night and then head up to Lake Tashmoo the next day.
Yeah, it was 10 nautical miles, and logically it was the first place to go.
Oh, it's going to be a sporty day at sea today. Definitely have a little bit of wind and a lot of swell going on. This is Forbes Island over here, and if you look closer, you can see a ton of bison up on the hill. And we are now coming into the cut here. This is called Quick. It's supposed to be fine to go through this. And we are going with the current through the cut. We are pulling into Menemsha. Menemsha ended up being one of our favorite places to stop. It was really amazing. We knew we weren't going to be there very long, so we kind of hit the ground running when we arrived. We had done some research and had read up about the Oak Bluffs as well as the Gayhead Lighthouse. So we got into our dinghy and took our bikes over, and the bike ferry was super cool.
We got there barely in time, didn't we?
Well, we got there with enough time for him to take us across and barely enough time to cycle all the way up to the bluffs and see the lighthouse and come back down.
Caught the last boat back in, otherwise we would have had to like swim.
Yeah, I don't know what we would have done.
But you know, from now on, you don't have to pay for the bike ferry, although it was a great experience. What was it, $6 a piece? But really, all you need to do is just go over with your dinghy to the other side, and you can tie it for free.
We were going to visit Martha's Vineyard no matter what, but we had a huge bonus in being able to go there to see my friend Jeannie, who I went to college with.
Jeannie, yay! One of my new favorite people.
She actually drove down from Oak Bluffs at the end of the day to come see us, and she had been collecting Amazon packages for us, so she brought all of those with her, which was amazing, and then came out to the boat.
Jeannie's really shy. She doesn't. She was forced into communications major just because she's like a big introvert.
I think the coolest thing that we experienced that night was they're cheering! Brown, blow the horn!
That's awesome. What a great culture.
So the whole town comes out to the beach, and they sit on the beach, they watch the sun go down. As soon as it goes below the horizon, everyone is clapping.
Compared to anywhere that we were at on any of these islands, Menemsha Pond was the most down-to-earth place that we went to.
The town is very cute, and while it had been wiped out many years ago by a hurricane, it looks quite old, and it is a fishing-based village with Larson's Fish Market and many places where you can purchase fish. So it was a very fun town with a great vibe.
You've got a big advantage of being a boater and your access to this area.
Let's go ahead and move on to Lake Tashmoo. Unfortunately, after only one night, we had to leave Menemsha and move north, and so we moved up to Lake Tashmoo, which ended up being an absolutely beautiful anchorage.
And I was crying the whole way. You were crying because we didn't want to leave Menemsha.
Within a couple of hours of getting there, we heard from the locals there might be a tornado here tonight, which could make it a very exciting evening. There are a lot of dinghies tied up here. It's pretty insane. Yeah. So we thought, oh gosh, we're already gonna have to hunker down. It was the perfect place to be there if there was going to be a big storm, and we were in the perfect location in the lake. So not a problem, and we just grabbed our bikes and took a ride up to Vineyard Haven, which was really different than I ever expected it to be.
It was just seeing the real part of Martha's Vineyard where people live year-round along, you know, not in a high-rent district. And I think it was the best way, given our limited amount of time, to visit Vineyard Haven.
And we lucked out because it was the weekend and Jeannie was off, and so she actually picked us up one day and took us on a tour of a lot of places, but predominantly Oak Bluffs, which is one of the famous towns and one of the anchorages we didn't visit. After a big work project day yesterday, we are off the boat today to play. And it always seems like when we get off the boat, we have so many things to carry. Part of that is in huge thanks to Jeannie, who's gonna let us do some laundry at her house. There's our laundry bag. And we're gonna do some cycling and check out a bit of Martha's Vineyard today. It is a gorgeous day.
We are going on something that you can't find on TripAdvisor.
But it could be added to TripAdvisor. Jeannie could do it.
Not with me driving.
She is so talented, and we are going on Jenny's wild adventure tour of parts of Martha's Vineyard today.
We're going to go around and see the Gingerbread Houses,
Okay.
which started as a camp meeting association for the Methodist camp meeting, and they would come in and have
Yay.
revival meetings. And then they built up to little tiny cottages, and you own the house and you have a 99-year lease on the land.
We had a great day with her. Boy, we saw so many things. And one of the things we learned about was the rich heritage and history of the African-American population in the vineyard and how freed slaves were welcomed to the vineyard if they could afford to vacation there.
Something I was totally not expecting at all. It really part of the foundations of the culture of Martha's Vineyard, which are very unlike other places that we visited. And it was really an eye-opener in such a great way.
Very multicultural in
Yeah.
comparison to other places we had been, for
Yep.
sure. I think one of my favorite places that we saw was the Methodists campground. The Methodists built a campground in 1830s, somewhere in there,
Yep.
and the campground just continued to grow in terms of its size. And there was actually a competition among those
Started
who
out as
built.
tents,
And then
yeah.
they started building walls and bases slowly, and then it became a competition to see who could build the most ornate and most colorful gingerbread houses, which it's called Victorian Carpenter Gothic. That's the name of the architectural style of these
It
homes.
fits it perfectly.
They were so cute, and it was a really interesting place to walk around. And I believe that their huge meeting tent is the largest meeting space on the vineyard. So really interesting history to that particular area. Well worth a visit and a walk around. We also, as part of that walking tour, visited the Flying Horses, which is the oldest platform carousel in the United States, originally from Coney Island. What were the rings?
Everybody going by would pull one out of this holder, and then one of them was different. They could stay on their horse, and ride again for free.
And I understand from what I read that the horsehair is actually real. So it was an attempt to make it feel like the carousel was a real horse that they were riding, which I thought was a cool thing that they did. We also walked along the port. Jeannie took us down to Oak Bluffs Harbor, where if we wanted to bring our boat in there, we could, which we never ended up doing. But she wanted to introduce us to some of her friends, the harbor master, who was amazing, to Skipper. Loved meeting Skipper.
They have blown in.
So we met Skipper, who is just an amazing man. If you ever want to be out on a boat and do some fishing, he would be the right one to go with. And thank you, Jeannie, for taking us to lunch at Nancy's and encouraging us to try the Dirty Banana, the famous drink that our friend makes down at the base of Nancy's.
It was killer. Oh, and one of my favorite things was the tennis tournament at the club.
It was 4 pros playing men's doubles to raise money for a cause.
Another real treat that we had is Jeannie and Adrian provided this catered lunch on our boat.
The boat is super clean and ready for guests. Brown has just gone to pick up our guests at the shore.
My name is Lacey. I originally started this business. The name of it is Nammins. The word Nam means to eat in Patois. I'm from Jamaica originally. Nammins itself is like a gathering with all your friends and your family. You guys come together and you bond over food. It's never anything luxurious, and so we would just all come together and eat together, and we were namming together.
Tell us what we're eating.
Here we have hibiscus sliders and jerk chicken sliders. Hibiscus is a flower. It's more really called sorrel in Jamaica. It tastes kind of like pulled pork or like some sort of beef.
No way.
Yeah, when we make it in Jamaica, we add like cinnamon and cloves and all of that. So I cook this down in a barbecue sauce that I make myself using rum. These are Philo cups. The Philo cups have a little bit of roasted hummus with some red peppers and cucumbers. The bruschetta bites either have herbed goat cheese or honey goat cheese with roasted beets on top, a little bit of hot honey and dill.
And then Adrian also tried to help us with fixing our air conditioning, which was so sweet of him. Thank you, Adrian. And then we were told by the harbor master in Tashmu we needed to leave.
The next day.
No, he said immediately, and I think we negotiated another day. Jeannie tried to pull all of the strings that she had, knowing all the harbor masters, and he would not budge. It's a beautiful morning in Tashmu, but we are on our way because we have been kicked out. You can only stay in the lake for 3 days. Look at that mug. Oh my gosh. Just hit a sandbar, and Brown is backing us off. Hopefully we can get off. We're off. Okay. You good? It was a little bit sooner than we had wanted to leave, but we also needed to be moving east because we only had a few days left before we headed off to Nantucket.
Yep.
And we ended up dropping anchor in Edgartown because we looked at the winds, and the winds were favorable to the anchorage in Edgartown.
Yes.
And
it's a big area to anchor in also.
There were hundreds of yachts and boats in the anchorage. One of the things I've always wanted to do in visiting Martha's Vineyard was to visit the island of Chappaquiddick. Chappie. Yep.
And what a history it has. A lot of you are probably thinking about that right now.
Yeah, where were you when? So we grabbed our bikes and put our dinghy on the shore, hoping that our dinghy wouldn't get towed off because it's all private property.
And it was really easy. It was like a very short dinghy ride, maybe 15 seconds. And it was really rural again. I mean, you had to take a ferry from Edgartown.
Yeah, the little Chappie ferry.
That goes back and forth to get there. And we hardly had any cars at all pass us by. And the roads were in great shape until we got to the dirt roads, but even they were in great shape.
There were a lot of dirt
roads. We were
roads.
thankful for them. Tell them what we saw there.
Well, we actually were trying to find the bridge, and we got lost, and a local stopped, and she asked us if she could help us. And she ended up giving us a little history lesson about the whole situation with Teddy Kennedy.
You know, the book, it must be 4 or 5 years ago now, that connected all the dots, made so much sense. It was another woman, Marianne Keogh or something, anyway, that he was actually going out to the beach with. And poor Mary Jo Kopechne who had had way more to drink than she'd ever probably had in her life. Couldn't go back to the hotel. So she just went out and climbed in the back seat of a car to sleep. They didn't even know she was there. The woman and got out of the car and swam off, and all of his helpers, as soon as he got back here, they all, got on it and went into damage control. It makes perfect sense.
Did he let the scene of the crime with somebody?
Of course he left the scene of the crime, but he didn't know it was a crime, you see?
Right.
So he just left and came back probably and told the car was in the water and they had to go do something about it, and I don't think they worried about it. Maybe it was morning, I don't know. That's when they found the body.
So you were here during the time?
Actually, I was not. I was in high school. My parents were here. I knew that Kennedy was driving the car before they did, sitting in this car. That's how carefully they...
Wow.
So anyway, the only other thing I will tell you is that the bridge that you will see is not the original bridge. Absolutely not. People whittled away so much it had to be replaced. That accident put us on the map, and it's been
When you wanted to be off the map.
That's been what?
50 years. More than that, yeah.
The other thing that we never noticed, those of us who lived here, is that when you come up to it, you go straight over the bridge. Actually, the bridge goes off to the left, which we never realized.
Interesting. And then just a couple hundred feet away was the house that they had rented, which we never would have known if she didn't point that out to us. So that was kind of cool. We got to see the house where everyone was staying. And then we went and found the bridge, which is in Cape Hogue Wildlife Refuge, and we got to see the actual bridge. Anyway, that wildlife refuge was beautiful.
It was stunning, and most people get there in a four-wheel drive vehicle. It is stunning. I could do that every single day of the summer, spend time on that beach.
One of the benefits too of buying the entrance ticket into the beach was it also gave us free entrance to the My Toy Japanese gardens. So we spent an hour or so walking through a 14-acre garden that was really beautifully manicured and just an really interesting place to visit in the middle of Chappaquiddick. We ended up cycling all the way around Chappaquiddick. Half of the roads are paved, and then the other half are all dirt. We rode a lot on our bikes. To go to Edgartown and explore on foot. So this will be a new one for us.
Yay!
And then we're gonna walk a mile to the grocery store and walk a mile back. Goodbye, blown away for a few hours till the rain starts. We'll be back. Off to discover more of Edgartown. We cycled it and we walked by foot, and we got to see a lot of the history of Edgartown, the famous whaling industry and the captain's houses that are in existence still. Many of them are museums or private homes, and just the flowers and the gardens, and it really was beautiful. One of the really interesting buildings that we were able to see was the old whaling church built in 1843. That's also in the middle of Edgartown Village. There were a ton of cute shops, all very high-end shops, but the village, I think, was the most picturesque comparative to the other towns that we had been in.
And then we walked.
I love visiting the lighthouse. That was really pretty.
It was really cute, and it was described to us as the most Nantucketish of all the villages, because I think the real estate is the highest there and had most of the wealth because of the
whaling industry.
It was stunning.
We are very excited. We cycled all day, and now we get to take Jeannie's killer cycle class.
Psychomania!
Psychomania!
Yeah!
This is gonna really hurt. But we're gonna do it.
You're with two instructors.
She used to teach spin.
You did.
And was I beast?
Yes, she had to push you though. She really pushed you hard.
Oh, I was kind of one-upping it a little bit. I was a little edgy. She was a little toned down compared to me. I was, the beast was being released.
Thank you, Jeannie, for the class and for the long hot showers that we were able to take at the YMCA. That was a huge gift.
It's a beautiful facility. You got to check it out.
Our final day on Martha's Vineyard, we went to say goodbye to Jeannie and Adrian.
Hello. Hello.
What are we doing?
We're gonna go to Jeannie's place, and we just picked the best time with the darkest cloud to go biking, and we're gonna go see her, have some pizza.
We're gonna go over the Jaws Bridge.
Jaileen's gonna jump in.
We're off.
Super duper.
And we cycled all the way to Oak Bluff from Edgartown. And on the way, we actually ran into Secret Service. Hey. See Secret Service? Who is it?
Mama.
No way.
Rama.
Really? Can you see him?
Yeah, he's back in Ferry. Oh, there we go.
That was kind of a neat coincidence to be able to see the president out on the golf course.
Yeah,
anyway, on the way to meet up with Jeannie, we also went past the famous Jaws Bridge where they jump off the bridge into the water. It was too cold and overcast for us to do that.
And windy.
But we did stop and watch some other people jump off the bridge.
Bye, guys.
Our definitely most interesting and scary event of the night occurred that last night that we were there. The fog came in and a big storm was brewing. We checked everything, our chain, we checked our anchor, we were set, we were dug in, we were ready for this storm except for our neighbor.
I looked up and saw this boat. Have you ever heard of a Hinkley before? Hinkleys are power boats. They're called picnic boats, and basically it's a really nice boat.
$1 million.
Super expensive, made out of wood, but it's also high tech. I think it has like a jet propulsion in it. And one showed up in front of our boat. It just showed up, and we didn't see him anchoring. Otherwise, we would have said something. And I looked at this boat, and I looked at Eileen, and I said, that boat's going to be a problem.
Yeah, and was it a major problem?
So tonight we were woken up to a banging in the front of our boat, and what ended up happening was this boat out here, Freedom Train from Newport, was right underneath, in between our holes, and banging up against the top of our crossbeam. They parked their boat with an anchor that's not adequate for this storm and just left. They're sleeping inside somewhere in a nice, comfortable place, and their boat just drug and ran into our boat. We've got the Coast Guard called. I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe they're gonna move this boat. So Eileen's pulling out some fenders right now. She's putting them all out. We'll keep an eye on it. There she is, the ghost ship. We're waiting for the harbor master, who has not come yet.
Morning, sir. Morning. Thank you for your help. Yes, it dragged. It was farther.
Yeah.
Maybe I could probably pull the anchor up. Maybe I'll just tow it in shore and put it on a mooring out there.
Oh, that would be great if you could do that.
I could come help you.
Okay. You keep that light on me?
Yeah. This happens all.
Okay, I won't bother you anymore.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you
so much.
That was not a whole lot of fun.
It was a tumultuous last night. Okay, we get the signal, it's time to leave.
So we went in, filled up with water.
Free water in Martha's Vineyard?
Yeah.
That's unheard of. I would think that they would charge for everything there, but no.
Boy, that floating dock is a little dicey. So this is a water barge. Basically, Martha's Vineyard allows us to fill up our tanks with water for free, which is a beautiful thing. You just come alongside this dock, pick up water, fill up your tanks, and you're on your way.
Unbelievable. Oh my gosh, you should have seen them in the water. I hope they come back around. That is
crazy cool. By the way, the inner harbor is huge.
And in the inner harbor, you can only grab a mooring ball. If there is a storm, they will open it for anchoring until the storm passes.
Okay, now let's get to the best part.
What's the best part?
We've just kind of laid down all the facts and stuff, but let's get to the scorecard. First category is cruiser friendliness.
There is nothing like Martha's Vineyard. It was incredible, truly. We could have stayed for months. We loved it. It has everything you need and could possibly want for your boat. Great provisioning, chandleries. I have to say, a 10 out of 10 is not high enough. We had to give it a 12 out of 10.
A 12 out of 10, that's crazy. It's really that good. Part of that is the number of places, 5 different areas where you can anchor.
Yeah.
And 5 different distinct parts of the island.
In terms of things to do, we also rated this very high.
11 out of 10. I know, some of y'all are unsubscribing now and all that.
Breaking all the rules.
And natural things to do, as well as restaurants and YMCA and the whole bit, fishing.
Hang time, we gave this 11 out of 10. This is a place you want to stay. And our overall rating for Martha's Vineyard is 11 out of 10. Again, it's just off the charts. The rating can't be normal because this is not a normal place to visit. Just when you think it can't get better with Newport, well, it just did. And we've given you all the reasons why. You all, we hope that you like this video and we hope that you found it useful. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and share it to other people who will benefit from watching this also. And we also want to give a huge shout out to Jeannie for her unbelievable hospitality while we were on the island. She is the best. All right, so thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next week, and next week will be Nantucket. Oh my goodness, Nantucket. It'll be Tucket time, so stay tuned, everybody.